For centuries, we've always looked up to the stars for humanity's next great frontier. But what if the most revolutionary step isn't up, but down? We're talking about Vanguard, a new subsea habitat that's poised to completely rewrite our relationship with the ocean. It's going to allow humans to live and work beneath the waves for weeks, maybe even months at a time. This quote from Roger Garcia at Deep, man, it just perfectly captures the frustrating reality for marine scientists. I mean, think about that. It's a crazy level of inefficiency. Imagine spending almost your entire day just on travel and logistics, all for a single hour of actual research. For decades, this has been the massive bottleneck in our quest to understand the ocean. You know, for anyone studying the ocean, their biggest enemy hasn't been some giant squid or a powerful current. It's been the clock. Every single dive from the surface is this frantic race against time, a battle against logistics that has seriously limited what we can learn about, over 70% of our own planet. And the challenge is so much bigger than just the dive itself. I mean, think about it. You spend hours driving to a port, then taking a boat out to the dive site. You've got these exhaustive gear checks, the constant worry about how much air you have left. And then, after all that, you have to make these mandatory decompression stops on the way back up to avoid getting seriously sick. It all just shrinks that window for doing real research down to almost nothing. But what if you could just get rid of the commute? What if you could wake up, have a cup of coffee, and you're already at your work site, hundreds of feet below the surface? Well, this is the game-changing promise of the Vanguard habitat. Okay, so the key to this whole thing is a concept called saturation diving. Basically, here's how it works. After about 24 hours at a certain depth, your body's tissues become fully saturated with the gases you're breathing at that specific pressure. And once you hit that point, you can stay down there for days or even weeks. The need to decompress after every single dive? Gone. You only have to do it once, at the very, very end of your entire mission. The difference this makes is just staggering. Instead of commuting for hours from the surface, these aquanauts are living at ocean pressure, ready to get to work in just a few minutes. That 1 hour of research time, it expands into a full workday. They're no longer just temporary visitors getting these brief little glimpses. They become residents, fully immersed in the very environment they're there to study. 9 hours. Let that sink in for a second. That's pretty much a 900% increase in productivity. This isn't just a small improvement. It is a fundamental transformation of what's possible. It completely changes the economics and, more importantly, the science of exploring our oceans. So what does all this really mean for the science itself? With that time barrier just shattered, a whole new world of questions opens up. We can finally start asking things that were previously impossible to even think about. Well, for starters, scientists can now analyze samples right there in the habitat's lab without the stress of decompression messing with the results. They can take on the slow, careful work of coral restoration on a massive scale. They can actually observe the largest migration on Earth, the diel vertical migration, as all these creatures rise from the depths every single night. And they can be there to witness rare, fleeting events like mass coral spawning that are almost impossible to predict and catch if you're coming from the surface. As Jim Britson says, it's all about that immersion. It's the difference between watching a nature documentary on your couch and actually living in the Serengeti. You're not just a quick observer anymore. You're part of the ecosystem's rhythm, able to see how things naturally unfold over time. But the science here goes way beyond just marine biology. Vanguard is also this unique laboratory for understanding us, the humans living inside it, and how we adapt to one of the most extreme environments on our own planet. And this might surprise you, but one of the biggest fans of undersea research has actually been NASA. For decades, they've used underwater habitats as an analog for space missions, helping to prepare astronauts for the incredible challenges of living and working so far from Earth. And when you look at the challenges side by side, it makes total sense. Both environments involve extreme isolation and confinement. Check. They are high-risk, high-stress situations where your team dynamics are absolutely critical for survival. Check. And both cause unique physiological changes to the human body, from zero-G in space to the high-pressure or hyperbaric effects under the sea. But here's the thing that really adds a whole other layer of psychological pressure. In most high-risk jobs, you can walk away if things get too intense. Here, you can't. You can't just bail out. Heading to the surface too quickly is potentially fatal because of the bends. There is no quick escape.
This creates this unique psychological crucible, making it perfect for studying human performance under immense, inescapable stress.
So all this brings us to the really big picture. Vanguard isn't just a single ambitious project. It's really the beginning of a much larger vision for humanity's future with the ocean. That's right, Vanguard is just the pilot program. The organization behind it, Deep, is already designing and building larger, more advanced systems. Their stated goal is to create a permanent human presence under the sea. I mean, they're effectively working to allow humans to become an aquatic species. How wild is that? And this quote from Kernagis really captures the spirit of this new era. Just as the Apollo astronauts came back from the moon and forever changed how we see our own Earth, the first generation of long-duration aquanauts are going to come back with stories and images and discoveries that could fundamentally change how we see, understand, and value our planet's oceans. We are right on the verge of exploring a new ocean, one that's been right here on Earth this whole time. And for the first time, we're not just going to be dipping our toes in, we'll be living in it. And this leaves us with a pretty thrilling question. What wonders, what secrets, and what new understanding of our world will these pioneers bring back to the surface?